What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy NBA Tonight, live with me, by myself, the one and only. How are you doing? Well, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you guys for asking. I'm actually going to be waiting a little bit for the viewership to go up, but I do want to thank every single one of you guys for joining us live today here at 7:30 p.m. instead of our usual time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the reason why we're doing it so early is because this is draft weekend. So I hope all of you guys have done your prep. You guys have been watching us for the last 2 weeks, getting in all your fantasy basketball questions, and we have been answering them for you live here on this show. And if you haven't done so already, I'm going to ask you guys to do a huge favor right before we start getting in these questions and start answering more of your guys' fantasy basketball questions, and to hit that thumbs up button on this video and to also hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all the things going on here at hoop-ball.com and on our YouTube channel. So if you guys are wondering why I'm by myself, like I said, it's draft weekend. Dan Besbris does not work Fantasy NBA Tonights except for on Wednesdays. And the guy who normally joins me on these Friday shows is actually really busy. And I will let you guys see him at his work. AB, if you can just throw your hand in the air real quick, real high in the air. There he is in the background. Goodness gracious, Vince, why are you bothering me? Is the fist of what he is saying. What up, Tam Carr? How's it going? So that's AB in the back. He is in a very, very, very big and very competitive league right now. And the reason why we're going to do this show like this and why I want you guys to see him in the background is that is his war room. He has his sheets in front of him of the ranking and the tiers of each of the players that he has, the pricing there, because he is actually in an auction league right now. And I want to reveal his first 3 picks. And I know he doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but I'm revealing his first 3 picks today. And he now has Stephen Curry and Hassan Whiteside. He has those 3 players in his auction draft. And now he's left with $45 in the rest of his league. So I'm very intrigued to see who he's going to have for the rest of his roster and how he's going to be bidding these things. And I think you guys are going to be able to hear who's on the wire, who he's going to be able to get. You guys will probably see him get a little bit excited back there. But that's the feel we're going to try and give you today while answering all of your fantasy basketball questions. So if this is your very first time watching the show and you wonder what we do here, this is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live. This is a hoop-ball.com presentation. And what we do like to do is answer all of your fantasy basketball questions, no matter the size of the league or what type of league you're in. All you have to do is type in your question, throw it into the live chat, and we're here to answer it for you. We've answered quite a bit of questions over these last 2 weeks, and I think one of them has been the Jokic and the Victor Oladipo. Where are you taking them and things like that? Interesting to me seeing some of these guys getting picked up earlier than expected. More importantly, Victor Oladipo. I'm a huge fan of Victor Oladipo. I think the upside is there, but unfortunately, he's being taken quite kind of what scares me. Ben Carnado, you are now inside the chat. What's going on? Tim asked, Wes Matthews versus Kent Bazemore. Who do you prefer? Currently, if I'm given between the two, I'm going with Wes. He's now a year removed from his injury. I'm a huge fan of Wesley Matthews. I think now that he's more healthy, the things that he can do for that Dallas team, especially with the struggles of Harrison Barnes so far early on in the preseason, I think Wes Matthews has a chance to be Portland Wes Matthews this season. Maybe not as great, but it was just 2 years ago this guy was battling for the most 3-pointers made in a season when he was with Portland. He has the big body. He knows how to post on smaller guards. He has that nice turnaround fader. He also has the nice move where he bumps in and gets the nice backboard shots. So I think he's one of those guys you definitely want to keep your eye on. Plus, there's injuries concerned with Kent Bazemore. He's a little bit of an injury risk, the ankle, the knee, and things like that. But he's also going to be a nice pick in the middle rounds of your draft. Ben Carnado asks, I missed the early show and didn't catch the live roast, but saw the video. Laugh a lot, heard your own. You held your own though. Well, thank you. If you guys missed it, I did do what's his name? Donald Trump impression. So if you guys didn't watch Fantasy NBA today, again, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up on this video, and then when this show wraps up, watch that, and you guys can see some of my I kind of got to do a little roasting session with Aaron Brewski and Dan Besbris on Fantasy NBA today. They're kind of picking on me. Ben says I held my own. Thanks, Ben. And I had to do some impressions. Kind of sucked, but I did it. Next question here. Project for Embiid and Sark's free throw percentage for the year. I mean, Dario, I think you're going to see his free throw percentage kind of be in that 75 range. I don't think he's going to be as bad as a free throw shooter that most people think. He actually has a really nice shooting touch. I think I know for a fact that Aaron Brewski, again, for those who don't know, he's in the back right now in his war room drafting in a very big and competitive auction draft right now. So that's why we have this setup like this, so you guys can see kind of the feel of what he's doing over there and how important it is to have your draft room ready when you're going into your drafts. But Stark has the upside there with Embiid. I know a lot of people are buying into the hype of the preseason, the double numbers that he had in his limited minutes. I'm not fully bought in. I'm not fully on board the Embiid train. What can his free throw percentage be on the year? I mean, he's not a bad shooter, so I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be good, but I'm also not going to say he's going to be great. I know that's a very weak answer, but it's the best one I can give you, and I hope you're okay with it. Tama asks, in Roto League, games limit, when should I play Joel Embiid? He would be replacing Yusuf Nurkic. Oh, with a games limit? What do you mean by games limit? I'm not necessarily sure what you mean by there's a games limit, and when you you can only play certain plays for just amount of games. If you can clarify what a games limit means, I'm more than happy to answer your question. But like I said, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not on the whole Embiid train. I mean, the question if he's going to be sitting out on back-to-back nights is still there. How many minutes he's going to get on a consistent basis is still a little bit of a question mark. So let me know what you mean by there's a games limit, and I'll definitely answer that for you. As we're waiting for our viewership to go up a little bit, NBA tonight, live with myself, Vince Miracle. In the back is Aaron Brewski in his war room, drafting in his very competitive auction draft, and we want to answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. So all you have to do is get your question on the show is right here on the live chat. I'm monitoring it very closely. You guys ask your questions, and we will be answering it live here on the show. Aaron might answer it whenever he has a chance to breathe over there, but I highly doubt he's coming out of that war room. He's pretty intense. For those who missed it, and for those who do not follow him on Twitter, go follow him at Aaron Brewski, myself at VM Center. But his first 3 picks in this draft have been Klay Thompson 1, Steph Curry 2, followed by Hassan Whiteside. It has been a fun and crazy time watching him back there in his war room and the Energizer Bunny that he's been back there. And yeah, I've told you guys before, he has the funniest facial expressions. So yeah, you guys missed out on some fun stuff. Maybe next year I'll start periscoping these drafts. As I look back into the question spot here, is that I can't play both players in the same spot over the season, so they would be using the same spot over 82 games. Got you. So you said in a row game, when should I play Joel Embiid? He would be replacing Yusuf Nurkic. So if you have to choose between the two, and when should you play him? Again, I'm not high on Joel Embiid, so I think I'd probably be the bad person to ask on this one. I look over the schedule and see, because I truly believe Nurkic, if you have a chance to play him, you put him in your roster as soon as possible. Next question here comes from Angelo. Hope I pronounced it right. What do you think of Ryan Anderson? He is injury prone, so I'm not totally sold on him, but he gives me threes, and I need some. Well, if you need threes, you pick him up and you put him on your roster. Yes, he is an injury risk. Do not reach for him. That's my only little bit of advice is you do not need to reach for a guy like Ryan Anderson. You know what he can do. You know exactly what he brings to your team. He's going to be a guy that's going to get you 6 to 8 rebounds. He'll probably get you 2.5, 3 3-pointers. Be up and down a little bit. Even though he's a big man, he does like to shoot a lot of outside shots, and there's going to be games where he gets cold, but he's a free throw shooter. I think if you're not afraid of the injury concerns and you need 3-pointers, and you want a big man that can do it, I think he's definitely the guy that you want to have in the middle rounds of your draft. So next question comes, Jokic or B. Lopez first? Upside even close to enough to do it? Yes. I'm do not draft Brook Lopez, in my opinion, over Jokic. That would be a bad decision. Brook Lopez is injury concern. Jokic has the upside to be a top 25 player this year. I mean, I think that's without question you take Jokic over Brook Lopez. Think of Marquise Chris. I need a small forward. Available are Marcus Morris and Rondae Hollis. Which one is better pick? Which one is a better pickup? Marquise Chris. I think he's going to be a developing guy. I think that he's also going to be a guy where I think he's also going to be a guy when you think he's not going to get minutes, he'll be in the game. And then when you think he's going to get minutes, he won't ever see the floor. So that's the type of thing that I think you're going to see with Marquise Chris throughout his rookie campaign. And plus, Phoenix has a lot of depth there at the big man. You got Alex Len, you have Tyson Chandler, you have Dragan Bender. I know they're talking about when PJ Tucker comes back, he'll be playing some 4. So, I mean, they have players that they can fit in where Marquise Chris can start seeing his minutes. And while Marquise Chris has looked okay during the preseason, he's still very thin. He still gets into foul trouble a little bit. So there's still development that needs to be had with the rookie Marquise Chris. But as for your second part of your question, you need a small forward and who you like better, Marcus Morris or Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. It depends. I think it depends on what you need. I think Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is going to get you probably the defensive stats that you want. But Marcus Morris, I think he's going to get you the threes. I think he surprised a lot of people last season for what he was able to do going to Detroit and being that. I think it just kind of depends on whichever one that you need out of the two. Do you need the defensive stats or do you need the points? And that I think that'll make your decision for you. I will be a fellow listener throughout the season. How can I purchase the podcast, and will I be able to ask questions through the season? So if you want the fantasy, well, first off, actually, Ben, let me say thank you for watching the show every single night. You're always in the chat room. You're very active. I definitely appreciate that. So if you want to listen to this show every single day, all you have to do is become a premium member of hoop-ball.com. So there's a premium membership. You go on hoop-ball.com. You go and click on that tab. I don't know if you guys heard that. That's the ESPN sound. So Aaron Bruski back there is about to be putting someone up to bid right now. So AB, can you announce who you put up to bid?
Yeah,
2 seconds. He'll after I say thank you, how you can the show, go on hoop-ball.com, become a premium member, and he's about to announce who he's putting up to bid right now. And so, then yes, you will get the podcast throughout the entire season, and there's going to be the continued Q&A service and things like that. And also, depending on the subscription you buy, you can actually ask us through emails questions, and we have to respond to you within 4 hours. Next question is 9Cat head-to-head. What number to draft Larry Nance? The late rounds of your draft. I think that's I don't know what number you would I think he's going to be he's going to float in and out of maybe the top 100, top 110. So I think that's where you're going to kind of look at Larry Nance throughout the entire season. MVP pick this year. Ooh, that's a good one. MVP pick. MVP. I mean, my initial thought automatically went to LeBron James. And I know that's the ESPN thought, is that LeBron James is going to be taking the MVP award this year. But I kind of have this weird feeling it's going to be Russell Westbrook, and I really want it to be Russell Westbrook. I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan, and I thought at first I did not really care that Kevin Durant left OKC, except for the fact that you just made a strong team even stronger and made him look weak. But I thought after the comments that came out, Kevin Durant kind of did Russell Westbrook a little dirty. So that means Westbrook needs to go all out. I cannot wait for every OKC game. So if I have to pick who I want to win it, it's going to be Russell Westbrook. But who do I think is actually going to win it? And I think that's going to be LeBron James. As this is Fantasy NBA Tonight with me, your host, Vince Miracle. And in the background is Aaron Bruski doing his live auction draft right now in his very competitive league. And what we like to do here on Fantasy NBA Tonight, normally at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but because this is draft weekend, I literally have a draft in about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm literally prepping for. So that's why we had to do this one a little bit early today, and I appreciate you guys still joining us at this early time, because I know you guys, it's Friday, probably wanted to get everything situated and then relax, have a beer, and watch us do this show. But we'd like to answer your question on the show. How do you get these questions on your show? You just answer them live in the live chat, and we'll answer them live here on the show to you. And if we don't get any questions, what we'll actually do, visit some of the things that we've talked about over the last 2 weeks, the Jokic versus Oladipo, how you want to be able to pick a guy like Victor Oladipo, because I think that's the biggest thing that people have been doing in a lot of these drafts that I've been in or I've seen so far, is that Victor Oladipo has been going in the second round because Yahoo and certain other sites have him ranked as a top 20 player. And we've said it before. Yes, he has the potential to be a top 20 player this season because of what has happened in OKC. He'll now be taking over that Kevin Durant role as the 1-2 punch with Russell Westbrook. but you don't want to draft him that early. You want to have the potential. You want to build the profit of him being that top 20 player. You don't want to get him at pick 20 or pick 22, pick 24, and not reap the benefits of being able to say, hey, I got him and he exceeded his value. And we've talked about that a lot throughout the season. I think you can take that same mindset with a guy like Jokic. I know that during the mock drafts, you guys saw him going in the second round early and earlier. But what I've seen going into a lot of these drafts now that has really been surprising me is that he's not necessarily sliding, but he's not being drafted where he was in those mock drafts. So I'm very intrigued to hear once this week has passed and we're actually into the regular season starting next week on Tuesday, where has Jokic been going? Who's been taking him? What pick has it been? And things like that. And how did their team form after that? So I think those are two things that you have to realize as well when you're going into the draft is plan on being able to get a profitable player in those early rounds and not just getting him where you think this player is going to go. I think in the middle rounds, I don't think that you're going for a reach. If you need a guy who's going to get you assists, your pick number one in round 5 or 6. Your pick one around 6. You don't pick again until the end of round 8 and then round 7, early round 8. So I think maybe then you want to go get a point guard, start addressing your assists then, but you don't necessarily want to start picking guys and start reaching a little bit just to add them to your team in the early rounds of your draft. Again, I think the middle rounds, the late rounds, if you need it, you need to go get it, and you shouldn't ask or you shouldn't hesitate to get what you want. Ben asked questions here. Can't believe I've never asked this. One of your best team names. Oh man, I think my best team name is actually this season. We're doing a Fantrax league right now. Speaking of that, I'm in that league, and it is not my turn to pick, but Giannis Antetokounmpo was just picked in our hoop-ball.com league. So my team name in that one, because I told my story on this show about my routines when draft time comes, and you guys unfortunately will not be seeing me do it because you guys are going to be off air, is that I do the truffle shuffle a little bit. I get all excited, I shake, and I get all pumped up when it's draft time. And so my team name is Truffle Shuffle in the Fantrax league that I'm doing with Hoopball. And my picture is actually Chunk from the Goonies. So yeah, best one. If I go in and I can read off some of the actual team names that we have without giving out their actual names. There's a guy in our team name named Dario Kart. You have Dame Time, Poke the Tree for some Millsap, Truffle Shuffle, that's me, the Claudosaurus Rex. I mean, there's so many different names that you can go with. Porzingis Christ is a fun one. So yeah, I mean, I would love to hear some of your guys' best names. Ben, Tama, Joe, Angel, everyone who's watching the show. First off, let me say thank you, but leave your questions in the live chat to get your questions here on the show. And then also, let's hear some of those funny team names that you guys have ever had. I also want to know how long you guys have actually been playing, how many times you've won a championship. Get the conversation going, because this show is nothing but just conversation with you guys to make sure that you guys are getting all the fantasy knowledge that you need and want and advice that you need to get going into your drafts or going into a trade situation. So again, for those who are joining us now as our viewership is climbing up here a little bit, this is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live with me, Vincent Miracle, and it is a hoop-ball.com presentation. In the background is the one and only Aaron Brewski. Unfortunately, he is unable to join the show because he is in his war room doing a very competitive auction draft right now. So I am running solo on the show, taking all of your fantasy basketball questions. Again, no matter the size of your league or what type of league you're in, on the live chat, I'm monitoring it very closely, and we'll answer it live here on the show. We actually had a question come in from Facebook earlier today, and I promised this person that I would ask it here on the show, and I think that would be a good time. And the question was, who is good with Anthony Davis? I would almost say anybody, because Anthony Davis is an elite fantasy basketball player when he's on the court. So that's the only concern. And I believe you said, if I remember correctly, you had the 14th pick in the draft. So you're looking around there and you're having your team. So who goes with them after 14? I'd love to remember. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm trying to find it here in the league that you sent me. What size your league was, but I think you want to add, you have the blocks. You have the rebounds, you have the points. That maybe you want to add some assists, another field goal percentage guy, because Anthony Davis, he's gonna be taking a lot of shots in New Orleans. How could his field goal percentage dip a little bit? And also, if he ever misses time, is there anybody else there that can complement him on your roster? Or at least can they do it by committee and finding other players that can fill up the points that he has it? But I think after you get Anthony Davis, you want to find a guy who could either get you the assists and fill up another category that Anthony Davis just cannot do, or you start building up with what Anthony Davis can do and start addressing those strengths so you can continuously win in those categories and then build around that in the middle rounds of your drafts. And that question came from Nive, and he is in Israel when he was watching this show. So thank you so much for our worldwide audience here. Nive is from Israel. He Facebooks us. He questions us and says, hey, can you put it on Fantasy NBA tonight? And that's exactly what we love to do, is answer all of your guys' questions. Water, excuse me. I've been doing a lot of talking over these past 2 weeks. I've been doing Fantasy NBA today, Fantasy NBA tonight. It's been a whirlwind. As you can tell, my voice is starting to hit it. And no rock star. It's just the great and wonderful H2O. Pardon me. So again, guys, I'm monitoring the live chat. I have Aaron back there. For those who don't know, he's doing an auction draft right now in a very competitive league of his. His first 3 picks have been Hassan Whiteside, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and then Hassan Whiteside. AB, have you drafted anybody else since then? No, he's just sitting there, and he's monitoring what's happening in there. Who's on the board right now for up for bidding? Fun stuff. So Twitter was hacked earlier. Now it looks like I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. ESPN did not get hacked. They're just having a glitch. So he's back there just. I'm running a solo show here. Again, guys, I'm monitoring the chat board, and I know this is gonna be the most laid back Fantasy NBA Tonight show ever, because this is draft weekend. This is probably the most competitive part of our weekend, is getting everything ready, getting our war room ready. I mean, I have my camera right here for the show. I have my laptop here to make sure the show is actually going clear, watching the viewership, and over here on the desktop, questions being monitored, as well as looking over at the Fantrax League that we're having with Hoopball, because that's the current draft going on, as well as normally there's a basketball game going on. But that's the life of the war room here at hoop-ball.com. So again, for those who don't know, and I can see that the viewership is coming back up again, this is Tonight Live with me, Vince Miracle. And normally on Fridays it is Aaron Brewski, but again, he's in the back room doing his auction draft. And if you have a fantasy basketball question that you want to get on the show and answer live, all you have to do is leave your question down in the live chat. Down in the live chat. I'll read it on the show and we'll answer it. And you guys talk amongst yourself in the chat board. It gets the conversation going. We see a conversation that's starting to pick up a little bit of steam. We'll talk about it on here, and we can have a straight debate. There's a lot of things that you guys may think that I don't agree with, and there's a lot of things I may say that you guys might not agree with. And I'd love to hear that back and forth. You guys can always let me know about how you feel at VM Center on Twitter. There's at Aaron Brewski. It looks like the ESPN board is kicking back up back there. AB, how you feeling? Go. Earlier today, he drafted Hassan Whiteside, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson. And you guys, I'm telling you right now, when Aaron makes these facial expressions of when he's excited, it's the funniest thing in the world. You guys thought clowning on me was funny on Fantasy NBA today. Does not beat the facial expressions that this guy can pull off. Okay, Ben asked, don't know your religious beliefs. Okay, but can I get a Vince Miracle blessing for my team? Praying for injuries. Level need all the positive vibes I can get. No, I'm as of religious beliefs, I believe that there's something out there. As for my blessing for my team, or for your team, I should say. Just sent you some miracle love through the camera. Made that up all off of the top of my head. If you can remember how to do that and you send that to me through a video, I would give you a high five through Twitter. I hope I sent the positive vibes your way. Again, guys, I'm just monitoring the chat room here while also looking over the Fantrax League. There's 16 of us in this hoop ball league, and I had the 8th pick in the draft, and I was stuck between my two picks, but I happened to pick Chris Paul. The first pick in our draft was actually a little bit of a surprise. It was not Stephen Curry. It was James Harden, then it went Russell Westbrook. And in this hoop ball league, we're actually doing a 9-cat head-to-head league. So we're definitely going to be keeping you up to date about who is winning and who is losing. There's a pretty nice little hefty bet going on between Aaron Brewski and I on who wins. And yeah, this guy's going to be serving me a steak dinner. Well, he's going to be buying me it, and I'm going to be eating it live here on the show while he hosts it. Because you know what? He's great. He's amazing. He's the FSWA winner of 2015. I give him all the props. The way he's very intelligent when he talks about fantasy sports. He knows what he's doing. The messed up part is that he's a Brewski. I'm a miracle. I make miracles happen on my team. I just sent Ben my miracle vibes that way, and that means I win games. So AB, you're listening back there while you're in your war room just a little bit, but this is trash talk coming your way. And you know what, Dan Bespris, you too. You won the playoff league in this Fantrax league over the summer when this podcasting and this site first started kicking off. You know what? I'm coming for your belt. Anybody else in this league, all the hoop ball crew that I work with on Fantasy NBA today, Fantasy NBA tonight, you're gonna take the L when you face me and my amazing team that I soon will hopefully build tonight if you guys start making your picks. Don't know, other than hearing me rant, you guys are just joining the show for the very first time. This is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live, and what we like to do on the show is take all of your fantasy basketball questions. I can continue ranting on about certain things. I can continue, naming things that we've talked about earlier in the day, but I love answering all of your guys' questions and making sure that you have all the advice you need for your guys. If you guys are going into drafts, if you guys are accepting any trades like that, all you have to do is submit your questions through the live chat, and we'll answer them live here on the show. I told you, I'm going to be honest and right up front in the very beginning, this is probably going to be the most laid-back show you have ever seen of Fantasy NBA Tonight Live. And also, we're going to be cutting it a little bit short today. It's only going to be a 30-minute podcast, and the reason why is because this is Friday, and this is draft day weekend. This is draft weekend for us all over here at Hoop Ball, so it's big for us. There's only 3 minutes left here on this podcast, so I definitely want to answer as many questions as I can here on the show. So if you have your questions, leave them in the live chat. We'll answer them here. And, yeah, I appreciate all of you guys joining us here today. Those who don't know, earlier today, we did have a promo code going out right now for anyone who wants to purchase the draft guide, 25% off the Hoop Ball draft guide if you use promo code DRAFT. Day. I think that's something that you definitely want to consider using when you guys are doing your fantasy drafts. Going over here on this side, nope, no fantasy questions over there. But yeah, hoop-ball.com is the site. Bookmark that. If you haven't done so yet, do us a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up on this button. Maybe this video hasn't been that entertaining, but normally it is. And normally I have a co-host where we go back and forth and answer more fantasy basketball questions. And the show normally does not air at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're normally a 9 p.m. show. I want to thank all of you guys who are able to join us tonight on this show. I'm sorry if you guys plan on watching us later. But again, this is draft weekend. A lot of busy things happening over here at hoop-ball.com. So I do appreciate the ones who were able to join. Again, hit that like button. Hit subscribe. You have AB in the war room right back there. I'm actually going to be signing off at this point. Follow me on all social media platforms at VM Center. He is at Aaron Brewski. We'll be back with you Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Fantasy NBA Today with at Dan Bespris and myself at VM Center. Once again, Hoopball Tweets is the site on Twitter. You guys have a great weekend. Good luck in all of your drafts. Remember everything that we've told you. Again, if you have any questions throughout the weekend, we will be more than happy to try and help you when we have the time. Again, guys, good luck. Talk to you guys all on Monday.